While Europe and the United States argue about who should be the first to give up Russian resources, Russian scientists are looking 2 steps ahead in implementing a project that no one will ever be able to refuse. At Rosatom, they have produced unique nuclear fuel for a 4th-generation reactor. Why have we become the first again, and how is the future of the whole world being created right now in Russian laboratories? And we'll also tell you about the new hero of the week after a brief summary of positive news. Another batch of Pantsir SMD anti-aircraft missile systems, as well as Pantsir S combat vehicles, has been delivered to the troops. At the Wimpel shipyard, the missile boat Strelok, Project 12,418, was launched, while a dry cargo ship, Project RSD-59, was launched in the Nizhny Novgorod region. Rosell has begun mass production of a new line of domestic artificial intelligence servers, opened in Tyumen. High-tech drilling equipment in the Khabarovsk region, a drone manufacturing facility in Kuzbas, a plant for the production of cutting tools for mining and construction in the Moscow region, a garment factory, and in the Kaliningrad region, a food production facility. The team from Novelskoye Moscow State University won the silver medal at the International Underwater Robotics Competition in China. While Trump was criticizing Europe at the United Nations General Assembly for buying oil and gas from Russia, his own ministers admitted that the United States cannot give up Russian uranium, which accounts for 1/4 of its consumption. And this is a big problem personally for Trump, who is actively lobbying for the construction of new nuclear power plants, since they will need even more fuel. But Russia absolutely dominates the field. Controls 40% of it. And this is already a problem not only for Trump, but also for global corporations that are also betting on the development of nuclear energy. Google, Open Artificial Intelligence, and Elon Musk's company, X, Artificial Intelligence, are focused on building giant data centers to meet the growing needs of artificial intelligence systems. And all of them already need stable sources of electricity. So Trump has ordered that by 2030, nuclear reactors be built in the United States. Also, last week, Trump and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Starmer, signed a new agreement to build 12 reactors in England. Similar processes are accelerating in the non-Western world as well. China and India are quickly expanding their nuclear energy sectors, with Russia directly involved. Russia is building new nuclear power plants in the territories of its closest neighbors, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, as well as in other countries. Big plans. The presidents have been tasked with building 38 nuclear units in Russia, which means more than doubling the number of operating nuclear power plants. Now, the main question is, where do we get that much nuclear fuel? According to new data from the World Nuclear Association, by 2030, the global demand for uranium for nuclear reactors will increase by 1/3 and reach 86,000 tons. By 2040, this figure will increase to 150,000 tons. At the same time, production at operating mines will be halved due to resource depletion. The creation of new uranium mines requires significant time and financial investment. It can take up to 20 years before mining begins. So, on the one hand, the world is indeed entering an era of nuclear renaissance, which, by the way, we predicted in our project 10 years ago. But on the other hand, it's heading full speed toward a deep fuel shortage. The situation seems to be a dead end. However, the Russians have once again anticipated everything and planned 100 years ahead. The main weakness of existing nuclear reactors is that they use only about 1% of uranium efficiently. The remaining 99% is sent for temporary storage or disposed of as radioactive waste. Roughly 400,000 tons of spent nuclear fuel have already built up worldwide. And what will happen when the new atomic age comes into full force? We will quickly use up all the already not very large uranium reserves and end up with mountains of dangerous waste. The solution to the problem will be special fast neutron reactors. They make it possible to efficiently use secondary products of the fuel cycle for energy production, burn up the remnants that were previously considered unrecyclable, and even produce more potential fuel than they consume themselves. The idea is not new. It was actively developed by Americans, French, and Japanese in the last century, but they stopped their research because the technology seemed too expensive and complicated to them. At the time, people believed natural uranium supplies would last humanity a long time. Everyone decided this except for Russia, which stubbornly continued research in this area even during the most difficult times. And here's what we've achieved. While foreigners were sleeping, we built our first industrial fast neutron reactor, the BN 350. Then we launched the more powerful BN 600 at the Beloyarsk nuclear power plant. After 35 years of its successful operation, an even more powerful BN 800 was built nearby. Now preparations are underway for the construction of the BN 1200M power unit, and the absolutely groundbreaking breast reactor is already under construction. The OD 300 is a 2-loop reactor installation. The coolant in the first loop is sodium, and in the second loop it is molten lead. No one has ever built anything like this before. All of this is the major work that will allow us to create a closed nuclear cycle. When we successfully complete it, humanity's fuel base will increase 100-fold. If we assume there's enough uranium for 100 years, then with a 100-fold increase, we're talking about millennia, which means, in fact, about limitless energy. It is our country alone that is carrying out this ambitious plan, essentially to save all of civilization. But of course, there are still quite a few challenges on this path. Since we're talking about nuclear energy, it's necessary to conduct a lot of research to make the solution completely safe. Thousands of tests, materials, alloys, and of course, nuclear fuel in all possible combinations. The most advanced today is our SNUP fuel for fast neutron reactors. It's a mixed uranium-plutonium nitride fuel. Its high density provides outstanding efficiency characteristics and allows reactors to be made more compact. So last week at Rosatom, a unique OS5 fuel assembly was produced based on this very SNUP fuel, guaranteeing high levels of efficiency and safety. Its uniqueness lies in the fact that, for the first time, metallic sodium was placed under the steel shell, surrounding the fuel pellets. The temperature of such fuel will be lower, and the uranium-plutonium pellet will swell less and put less pressure on the fuel rod cladding. This will improve both economic efficiency and safety. Now the assembly will be tested in the operating BN 600 reactor to prepare it for use in the breakthrough breast OD 300. And this is another important step towards solving a global problem. Admit it, the situation looks somewhat comical. Within the walls of the United Nations, Americans and Europeans theatrically call for abandoning the use of Russian resources, while Russia is already shaping the next generation of global energy. Most people focus on the political circus instead of truly important matters, which is also absurd. That's why we will continue to tell you about the key stages of these and other advanced developments in our country. By Dima Torzak. Up next, the announcement and hero story. Russia's natural resources are valued at least $75 trillion. And by this measure, we are in first place in the world, almost twice ahead of our closest competitor, the United States. Fans of free giveaways have calculated that if you divide this wealth among every citizen of Russia, it would come out to $513,000 per person. However, they didn't take a couple of nuances into account. First of all these resources still need to be extracted, and sometimes the cost of extraction even exceeds the market value of the resources obtained. Secondly, after extraction, they still need to be delivered to the buyers. And that means new pipelines, railways, seaports, transportation, and personnel. Thirdly, global solvent demand is too low, so selling everything at once would require much lower prices. And do those who love freebies ever think about what will happen after the country sells everything off? This question is more serious than it appears. Budget revenues from resource sales have dropped significantly, and it's already hard to call us the world's gas station or a raw materials appendage. At the same time, in recent years, we've made a real leap toward creating high-tech products. And right now, our economy is undergoing a transformation.